Now at 11, the track and field community preparing to honor the teenage daughter of an Olympian who was shot and killed in 2016. And the search for a missing Titanic tour sub in the North Atlantic now entering a critical phase.
Chief Meteorologist T.J. Shuck. Cloudy, muggy, and a bit stormy in spots on this final day of spring. Still have that area of low pressure down to our south, so the unsettled weather sticks around to kick off summer. Your Storm Team forecast is on the way.
You're watching ABC 36 on your side. News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Paxton Boyd. And our top story tonight at 11, the search for a missing tour sub on a mission to view the wreckage of the Titanic is expanding, with resources coming from the U.S., Canada, and even France. But every hour that passes is one less hour the 5 people on board could have oxygen, which is just one of the challenges searchers are facing. Emily Schmidt has a closer look at what's unfolding in the North Atlantic Ocean.
The Coast Guard says 5 people were on board the sub as it dropped below the surface of the ocean Sunday, headed for the wreckage of the Titanic, including 1 pilot and 4 mission specialists.
2 days from now, it may be too late.
When the submersible went underwater, it's estimated there were 96 hours worth of oxygen. By Tuesday afternoon,
we know at this point we're approximately about 41 hours.
The Coast Guard says it has searched an area the size of Connecticut and is adding remotely operated vehicles to look below the surface. Ships and planes are ready to move from St. John's, Newfoundland, as the Pentagon takes action too.
So by the end of today, we would have committed 3 C-130s to conducting search and rescue flights.
Officials say the scale of the effort shows success is possible, yet details about a search turning to rescue are few. No rescue has ever happened that deep.
If we get to that point, those experts will be looking at what the next course of action is.
The last vessel communication was Sunday. A tourist who says he took 4 OceanGate dives, including one to Titanic, says communication failed briefly every time.
I don't blame the submarine as much as I blame deep water.
A friend of one of the missing says the good news is there hasn't been bad news.
We haven't seen wreckage floating. We haven't heard that explosion underwater in the sonar.
Yet all know the time for any hope is shrinking by the minute. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
All right, checking in now with our chief meteorologist, T.J. Shuck. We are counting the days until the official start of summer. Definitely feeling like it as far as that mugginess is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a little sneak preview. Started on Sunday, and it really kicked in yesterday, and more of it today with that area of low pressure down to our south on this final day of spring. Of course, some heavier rain generally south of the I-64 corridor. We had a cluster of thunderstorms with a lot of lightning around 6 o'clock or so. London, Corbin down toward Williamsburg, and eventually diminishing. Fairly quiet out there now. A few breaks in the clouds here and there, and actually some of that earlier this afternoon helped temperatures overachieve here in the Bluegrass. Our Bluegrass Pace Care Sky VHT Camera Network, Hicks and Funts and Cam checking out the east side of Lexington. A few scattered clouds, temperatures right around 70, and that's actually as cool as it has been all day long. That was our morning low. Still have a bit of a northeast breeze at about 10 to 15. Most locations upper 60s to around 70. Won't move very much. Dew points have come down as they generally do a little bit during the evening and the overnight, but still feeling quite muggy out there. Next 36 hours, we're going to start things out in the upper 60s, mid to upper 60s tomorrow, and should see mid 70s. I think the coverage may be a little bit less. Some locations today, of course, didn't see any rain at all. That low will be to our south before it gets overhead again on Friday, but some improvement heading into the upcoming weekend. Your Storm Team forecast is on the way.
To an ABC 36 update now. The case against a man accused of trying to burn down the Mary Todd Lincoln House in Lexington is going to a grand jury. The Fayette County Detention Center shows 29-year-old Santosh Sharma is charged with attempted arson, menacing, and criminal trespassing. In court during a preliminary hearing today, police officers testified they saw Sharma allegedly pouring gasoline on the historic building before they arrested him last week. The investigation into that incident continues. In Bell County, the Middlesboro Police Department has identified 3 of the 6 suspects wanted a connection to a jewelry heist. Police say the suspects were caught on camera during a heist at Antique and Modern Jewelry in November. Officers say thousands of dollars in merchandise was stolen. Investigators say at least one of the suspects is wanted in other states for similar large-scale thefts. Well, a memorial track meet will be held this weekend in honor of a 15-year-old who was shot and killed during a shootout 7 years ago in a restaurant parking lot in Lexington. The 6th annual Trinity Gay Memorial Classic will be held this Saturday from 10 until 2 at the Transylvania University Athletics Complex on West 4th Street. Gay died in October of 2016 after she was shot during a gunfight between multiple people outside the Cookout restaurant on South Broadway. She was the daughter of Olympian Tyson Gay and a rising track star at Lafayette High School. Well, June is Veteran Suicide and PTSD Awareness Month, a time to talk about post-traumatic stress disorders and remind everyone that veterans are not alone. One Kentucky nonprofit is working to play a crucial role in stopping soldier suicide. ABC 36's Justin Walker has more.
You know, it's all of our responsibility to reduce suicide as a whole. And then, obviously veteran suicide falls into that category.
Jeremy Harrell is the founder of Veterans Club Incorporated, creating the nonprofit in 2017. Harrell is a U.S. Army combat veteran who served in Operation Iraqi Freedom and was deployed in 2003 and 2004. He understands firsthand the effects of veteran PTSD, having suffered himself for years.
But I've been dealing with it since my deployment in 03 and 04, and it's still very much included in my everyday life.
According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, 12 million people in the United States live with PTSD. The VA also says PTSD is slightly more common among veterans than civilians. Symptoms vary person to person, but signs include reliving the event, having negative thoughts and feelings, and experiencing nightmares, flashbacks, guilt, and numbness.
It can impact your life, and sometimes vets can feel like they are a burden to the ones around them. And ultimately, sometimes, unfortunately, that leads to veteran suicide.
There are several resources available for veterans experiencing suicidal thoughts, including the new and easy-to-remember 3-digit suicide and crisis line.
So if you're having suicidal thoughts or you're having some type of mental health stress, you can call the 3-digit number 988 and get the supports that you need from trained crisis counselors.
The Lifeline connects you with a local certified call center. Here in Fayette County, New Vista is among the network of centers answering those calls. In the past 12 months, the center is seeing a 17% increase in calls. Meantime, Harrell says Veteran Suicide and PTSD Awareness Month highlights the need for veterans to get the help they need to live full and happy lives.
You can't erase memories, right? And that's essentially what it is. But you absolutely can have those memories to a point where it doesn't negatively impact you emotionally or cause you to re-experience or cause you to go down a dark rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. And that's the goal, right?
Well, that was Justin Walker reporting. Now to a traffic alert for drivers in Fayette County. The Transportation Cabinet says the exit 9B off-ramp from New Circle Road to Newtown Pike will be temporarily closed overnight. The Transportation Cabinet says the closure is from midnight tonight until 6 tomorrow morning for road repairs. Well, still ahead, a closer look at gun safety after the accidental shooting death of a 5-year-old by another child, and a new apartment complex now open for low-income families in Lexington's Winburn neighborhood.
Well, scattered showers and thunderstorms from earlier finally winding down after the late afternoon and early evening warmth went away. Fairly quiet overnight, but we are looking at more unsettled weather as we welcome summer tomorrow morning. Your Storm Team forecast is coming up.